Math Class 19, Two-Step Word Problems. While playing a trivia game, Kyra answered 4 questions correct in the first half and 2 questions correct in the second half. If each question was worth 2 points, what was her final score? Well, this is a two-step problem again, so in the first step, I'm going to determine how many total questions Kyra got correct. So I'm in a tape diagram here going to represent in the first half, Kyra got 4 questions right. And in the second half, Kyra got 2 questions right. And what I'm looking for is the total number of questions that Kyra got correct. I can figure that out as 4 plus 2, and 4 added to 2 would be 6. So Kyra got 6 questions correct. Now, the second step in the problem, I want to determine how many points Kyra earned. So, since I know there were 6 questions that were correct, I'm going to draw my tape diagram here with 6 boxes. Each box is going to represent one of the questions, and each question was 2 points. So I'll put a 2 inside each one of my boxes there. And now what I'm trying to figure out here is the total number of points that Kyra earned. So I can write that mathematically as 6 groups of 2, or 6 copies of 2. So that's 6 times 2 equals something here. We can figure it out by skip counting. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 6 times 2 equals 12, and that 12 is representing points. So I'm going to write a word sentence. Kyra's final score was 12 points. Rounding. Round 154 to the nearest 10. Here I'm going to use a vertical number line. Rounding to the nearest 10, I want to determine how many tens, if tens are my largest unit at this time, how many tens make up 154. So I'm going to start and go all the way over to my tens place here, and I see that 15 tens make up 154. In standard form, that's 150. If I add one more 10 to those 15 tens, I would have 16 tens. In standard form, that's 160. Right in the middle, my midpoint of 150 and 160 is 155. I want to place my number 154 on the number line. I know that it falls right below the 155. So now, to determine if 154 rounds up or down, I will look at its position in relation to the midpoint. 154 falls right below the midpoint, therefore it will round down. To the nearest 10, 154 rounds to 150. Round 154 to the nearest 100. Again, using a vertical number line here. I'm going to look, since I'm rounding to the nearest 100, I'm going to use hundreds as my largest unit, and I will determine how many hundreds make up my number 154. 100 in standard form. That looks like this. If I add one more 100 to that 100 that we have on the bottom of our vertical number line, we would have 2 hundreds. And the midpoint, the number that falls right between 100 and 200, would be 150. Now I want to find 154 on my vertical number line. I know it will fall right up here above the 150. Put 154 here. And again, to determine where 154 rounds, we're going to look at its position in relation to the midpoint. Noticing that 154 falls right above the midpoint, it will round up to 200. Fractions of a region. The picture below is the whole. What fraction of the whole is shaded? So notice that the larger rectangle here is the whole. That large rectangle is broken into 6 equal parts. That's going to be the denominator in my fraction. The units we're dealing with are sixths. Now the numerator will be how many of those equal parts are shaded, because we're looking for the shaded part. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of those 6 pieces are shaded, so we will say 4/6 is shaded. Concepts of area. Create a figure that has an area equal to 10 square inches. So every one of these little squares is a square unit, 1 square unit. So to get a figure that's 10 square units or inches here, we need to fill in 10 squares. Now I have 10 squares filled in. So this figure here has an area of 10 square units, and that is a 2 by 5. 2 by 5 equals 10. In terms of area here, we will say we could say 2 inches or units by 5 inches or units here is equal to 10 square inches or units. In this case, we want to make all these inches. All right. Next, shape attributes. Check all that apply for the given shape. I know that this shape does not have 3 sides, and tri means 3. So none of these are going to be attributes for my given shape. Quad means 4. Quadrilateral is 4-sided shape. And since this has 4 sides, we will fill in the circle for quadrilateral. A parallelogram is a quadrilateral that has 2 sets of parallel sides. Here I have a set of parallel sides, and here I have a set of parallel sides. Parallel means they will never ever touch no matter how far extended. So we're going to fill in parallelogram. It has 2 sets of parallel sides. A rectangle. A rectangle would be a parallelogram or quadrilateral here that has 4 right angles. Notice our quadrilateral has 4 right angles, so it is a rectangle. A rhombus is a quadrilateral that has 4 equal sides, and you can see that all 4 of our sides here are equal, so this would be a rhombus. And anytime that we have a rectangle and a rhombus, it's going to be a square, because a square is a parallelogram. Well, it has to be a quadrilateral. It's 4 sides. It's a parallelogram because it has 2 sets of parallel sides. It's a rectangle with 4 right angles and a rhombus with 4 equal sides. So again, a square is a 4 right-angled, 4 equal-sided shape. Pentagon means 5-sided polygon. Hexa is a 6-sided polygon. Hepta is a 7-sided polygon. And octa is an 8-sided polygon. So none of these will work.